I find that this process is very meditative for me. As I get into the studio, whether it's disassembling something, getting inspiration from that, and reassembling that into something new or reimagined, I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. It's not actually even the end product for me. It's really about continuing to kind of scratch that itch.
And Gabriel Dishaw has scratched that itch since high school. In his teen years, he started upcycling old computer parts and turning them into sculptures. And a trip to an antique shop in Michigan brought him into contact with some classic Louis Vuitton luggage and an idea to repurpose designer handbags into custom masks and other pieces of art. His love for pop art and upscale pushes him forward.
Typically, the sculpture will start with, I've landed on a color palette. Then from there, as I start to disassemble and start to interact with kind of the materials. So, I've got a bunch of luxury bags over here and disassembled. It's kind of my graveyard of old luggage. As I'm kind of going through that process and digging around and kind of exploring, I'm also going to get some influences from that, right? I'm going to get some cues from the materials, and I'm going to start to draw that in. As I'm starting to kind of then assemble and put this together, I'm going to start to discern patterns and kind of the shape of the helmet. What do I kind of want to start to achieve or kind of accent? And then that's kind of the first, what I would call layer. Then I start to work on trim. I start to build out more texture and edges and so forth. Also like to try and hide some of my crimes. So as I get, it starts out a little more crude in placement, and then I'm gonna refine. I'm looking for symmetry. I'm looking for, as these colors, are they working? Is there enough contrast? As I'm starting to play through that, this is all happening throughout the creative process. As I get that kind of refined and in a good place, then what's really interesting that kind of occurs is I start the process of kind of the next phase of this is the sealing. When I seal it, it pops. It pops in a different way. Different accents are coming out. So there's always kind of this surprise that occurs at the end as I'm putting this together, as that final seal comes in, whether it's more matte, whether it's shiny. Those are all things that I can control and pull those levers.
The refinement over the years is what makes Gabriel's art so intriguing. From bottom to top, his art is about technique and learning. Even as he grows in his abilities, he is always discovering new things.
There's always kind of this reflective process that does occur, especially as you look at old work and reflect back on it. There are always opportunities as you've gained more experience, or maybe that you've polished something and you've found solutions for, you might have maybe approached that slightly different, and that it's not really negative, it's just that we're on this journey of continuing to kind of evolve. One of that would be just my skill set in using tools.
Gabriel has begun to integrate all aspects of production in a building behind his house. From a photography space, 3D printer, and spray paint booth, he can see the project from start to finish. These extra amenities allow Gabriel to focus on the art and let the work flow. One of the most important parts of his work is commissions.
Commission work is kind of a double-edged sword. You're entering into this kind of agreement or relationship in which, you want it to be successful for both people, right? Fulfill what that person who's commissioning or wants of you, but then you also get to have the creative license. You get the ability to kind of show off what you can do, and have that ability to kind of, and the flexibility not to have something completely dictated by someone else. So there's this balance, right? So I find with commission work that it's really that upfront kind of conversation around what are we kind of working towards, and is this going to be a good fit? And in most cases, it is. I think the best scenario that works out for me is someone who either comes to you with not only just this passion for what I do and supporting that, but that they have this idea that they want something unique from me, and they allow for me and my creativity to kind of flourish. I have run into situations where obviously, things didn't work out. An example would be where a client is really interested in maybe dictating the entire sculpture. Essentially, Gabriel, color in the numbers. That really is not something that I'm really interested in kind of pursuing, because it really kind of constrains me, right? And typically when somebody has a vision in their mind, even though I may be able to reproduce elements of it, it just usually doesn't end up in the quality that I'm kind of chasing. Each of my sculptures are one of one. So, some folks are interested in maybe a piece that I've done in the past. And usually I explain to them, this is my craft doesn't allow me to just reproduce the same piece.
His one-of-one production allows his work and his pieces to transcend most mediums, from features in out-of-town art shows to being displayed and worn by artist T-Pain and film directors Joe and Anthony Russo.
It's not a job to me, it's not work. When I get into the studio, it really is a meditative process for me. I get a lot of satisfaction through the process, and I hope that continues. I think it's super fulfilling. There is a part of that is part of the process that I really enjoy. This idea that as you create something, you put all this time and energy and refinement into it, and then at the end of the day, someone cherishes this object, right? They put it on their mantle, they put it out there for everyone to see. They share it with new people that are visiting their home. I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. I think that's really just awesome. And I think that's part of my legacy, right? That at the end of the day, these things will live on and be cherished.